Okay, welcome to the pile selection. Today we are choosing from 3 different decks that I used. Pile 1 is the Good Tarot. Pile 2 is the Tarot of Dreams. And pile 3 is the Osho Zen Tarot. So take your time, pause the video if necessary, and focus on which pile is speaking to you most. And I will put timestamps down below for your chosen pile. All right, pile 1, welcome. You chose the Good Tarot. We'll get started with your first tarot card here. We have Strength, Leo card, number 8. The 7 of Coins. And the King of Swords. All right, so there's a lot of endurance that I'm seeing here in your pile. The strength to carry on over a long period of trials. The King of Air looks like your higher self, your guardian angel, your guides, clearly overseeing this process, guiding you through it, leaving you signs, perhaps dropping feathers or coins or repeating numbers, songs on the radio, something of that sort. But we have this guiding higher self, this clear mind, wise counsel. It's also clear decision making as a sign of your strength, I think, through repeated lessons of Saturn, because 7 of Coins is Saturn in Capricorn energy, but that is someone who has taught you how strong you are via these repeated cycles. Saturn moves in patterns of 7, has the 7th planet, 7 rings. Every 7 years, it'll be forming a square or an opposition or a conjunction to your natal Saturn, as one revolution takes about 28-29 years. So those aspects could be happening for you around this time, but it's a turning point. It's I think a leveling up. It's a next step. It's, the healing of another scar, perhaps. It's starting to fade more and more, and each scar is a lesson of how strong you are, what you're capable of, what you're able to survive, what you can conquer, whether internal or external, that your persistence and endurance is going to pay off in this manner. There is an eventual payout there with the coins showing up. Let's go ahead and take a look at your oracle cards to expand on this message. So first, your Queen of the Moon card is Trust, the Egg Moon. So this is actually a full moon in the springtime. We're in that in the Northern Hemisphere. We just had that, I believe. The full moon lunar eclipse might have been the Egg Moon. All right, so let me take a look at that. It says, trust yourself, develop self-trust, and joy will follow. You can rely on your own capabilities. Begin to plan carefully for the future. It is the beginning, and I trust myself in all things. So it talks about planning for your future. And we have the basically a nest on top of an egg, and that's often referred to as savings as a nest egg. So that could be what you are compiling slowly. Maybe every paycheck you're putting aside $50, $20, whatever you can afford, but you're stuffing it away in your wisdom here to, for a rainy day, and building upon that. Maybe you're strengthening your financial literacy, or as far as your plans for building a strong foundation in the future with the nest being there. Maybe you're saving for a house or a vehicle, something like that. But it's encouraging you to keep going with this process, that things take time, but they build slowly. But being able to trust yourself is most important, and that will give you the confidence to continue. Every little success that you see that you're capable of is only adding to your ability to just grow upon that. It strengthens your skill there. Apart from the trust we might develop spiritually with our higher power, self-trust is the basis of all trust. Self-trust is a surety we can rely upon ourselves, that our decisions are valid, that we ourselves matter, that knowing ourselves combined with trusting ourselves leads to better, more informed decisions about all aspects of our life, including career and relationships. Self-trust is far more than a flashy show of confidence. It is deeper and farther reaching than that. It is security at the very core, that no matter what, our wisdom matters and it is best. It allows for flow and for faith in oneself and the way you would do things moving and choosing in the world. Self-trust is a full acceptance of self. As accepting one's self becomes easier, thus self-trust will begin to shine. This gives great momentum to anything we choose to tackle or do. Our ancestors saw spring, the great thawing, as a new beginning. They would walk the marshes and plains and find newly laid eggs. More than just a symbol of fertility and new hope, the eggs meant that the worst of the cold was over and that the new life really was here. The egg moon was a time of celebration and rejoicing. The companion stone or metal is iron. So yes, something is about to hatch. This Seven of Coins card is often depicted as a farmer overseeing his crop, watching it grow and mature. Things are almost ready to harvest. Um, and making wise decisions, I mentioned in the King of Air. So whatever you've been investing in is about to become mature. And we're at a new moon, and eggs are the beginning, are sign of new life as they begin to hatch. So let's see what our astrology card is. We have Chiron, hurt and heal. Okay, well, I feel like, yes, we've gone through some hurt. We've learned lessons, probably the hard way, but through that we've gained wisdom, and that has helped us heal and make better decisions for our future, maybe becoming more cautious or more conservative in our approach to managing finances. And then, but through that, obviously that cycle is wisdom that's gained here in the King of Swords that helps us make better decisions for the future so we don't keep repeating those cycles of Saturn here in the Seven of Coins. Next we have the Direction Guardian, choose your path. All right, so, and these are all the fixed signs. So we have Taurus here. This is a new moon in Taurus. Leo here as pictured, Aquarius, and then Scorpio, the eagle. So we have our basically like a wheel of fortune being shown up here, which is ruled by the planet Jupiter, which is expansion. So expanding in all directions. And I almost look at this egg as an oyster, right? There's a pearl inside of an oyster that forms after much irritation and the introduction of the sand. And that's the only way that the oyster can protect itself is by building layers and layers of pearl around it. So I feel like through all this irritation, through the hurt, and that's how you heal yourself, protect yourself from future disruptions or irritations, but that has given you a lot of strength, and there's a lot of wings being pictured here. It's a lot of strength to fly, to really ascend above the fray, to get out of any kind of dangerous or precarious cycle that you've been learning. So now you're kind of free to choose and go wherever it is, whatever direction that you want to go. Because wealth really is freedom. I mean, it's also your health. So if you have health and time, those are like the two ultimate things. And of course, money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy freedom. It buys time. So by unchaining yourself from your financial obligations, possibly through wise decisions or investments, you're now able to pursue what it is that you love, or maybe you're able to travel, but you're able to, or expand your mind, go back to school, whatever it is that you're preparing for, that you're saving for. And let's look at your animal medicine. We have the alligator, number 50. I believe this came up in my last moon pick a card, the lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago. So this is just confirmation if that was also the card that showed up in your pile. But the title of this card is Integration. The powerful gift of alligator medicine is to fully appreciate and integrate all that life offers. Gator shows us the value of thoroughly digesting both the pleasures and pains of life. That really aligns with the Hurt and Heal card of Chiron. In many ways, alligator's medicine is reflected in its behavior. When gator rolls under the water with its prey, its message is to roll with the punches when being attacked by life's circumstances. Carefully storing its prey under a log until the meat is tender teaches us about patience and proper timing, as evidenced in the Seven of Coins. Choosing to laugh when tangled in your own seriousness can immediately diffuse the stranglehold of anger and judgment, self-importance, and inflexibility. Once your rigidity is removed, you are free to again integrate the present set of circumstances, finding what you may have formerly overlooked. Then you can learn Gator's lessons on how to digest the value of any life lesson. Gator medicine people refrain from passing judgment until they have examined all the facts and seen all sides of any situation. It may be time to drop opinions and judgments so that the present situation can be fully understood. Gator might have surfaced in the river of your life to tell you to digest the situation at hand before making any rash moves. You could also be dealing with someone who is not too serious or rigid. If this is the case, embrace your flexibility, knowing that you are expanding beyond your former limits, even if others are wallowing in their self-created quicksand. So I mentioned the direction guardian, the freedom to move, and how it's ruled by Jupiter, Lord of expansion. So you're free to expand as long as you're flexible, but without being impulsive. And that can be, if you saw the intro of the astrology, the Kritika Nakshatra that's new moon is happening in, it is a fiery, kind of passionate, it can be impulsive energy. So think before you act instead of vice versa. But with the wisdom card there and the King of Swords, I feel that that's not going to be a problem for you. You've worked very hard for whatever it is that you've been waiting for, so I doubt that you would waste it impulsively. Have you been rushing through life and not taking the time to count your victories or to digest your rites of passage? If so, it could be time to honor your progress, mindful that quick fix solutions do not support long-term goals. Avoid getting stuck in the duality and quagmire of the human judgment game. Use calm, resolve, review your healing process and life lessons, integrating the growth you have attained. In all cases, Gator is telling you that something may have escaped your perception. Ask yourself what viewpoint or possibility did not get factored into your assessment. Did that missing piece of the puzzle keep you from having an accurate overview of what is now occurring? If so, it is never too late to reevaluate the situation from a more integrated and flexible point of view. Remember, Gator's eyes and nostril are often the only parts of its body above water while it senses its surroundings. Gator integrates all probabilities before it makes its move. Okay, so that wise, calculated decision making being implemented here in the next month. And then your alchemy card, we have Leucosis, the lightning, number 13, which in Tarot 13 is the death card, transformation and change. So endings and new beginnings, as we have a new beginning in the egg here, and there's an egg there. So, and this egg is actually hatching. So we're on to the next step. Snakes also shed their skin, leaving behind maybe old impulsive habits, or again, leaving behind the lessons that you've already learned, that you've healed from, and integrated into your current perspective on life and your current situation. So let's see where the lightning takes us. The title of this card is Perfectionism, Facade, and Hesitation. The state of leucosis is a complex topic in alchemy. On the one hand, it represents purification of the materials. On the other hand, it's the phase in which the alchemist may mistake the work as complete. On the surface, everything seems perfect, pristine, well thought through, and quite complete. In actuality, the alchemist has been tricked by their own facade of perfection. Their work has hardly begun. Righteousness and fear are the great errors of leucosis. This card arrives to remind us to get our hands dirty. No one is separate from or above anyone else. Rather, every alchemist is a kid in the laboratory, tinkering away with the elements of their life. No more fretting over your next move, fearing how others will perceive you. It's time to crack open, become who you are. The world needs your true colors. Side notes say leucosis is related to the alchemical operation of calcinato. If these cards appear together, it's a sign that things may have calcified, implying a kind of buildup or rigidity. And it mentions, that card's not here, but Alligator talked about being flexible, rolling with the punches. Avoid being too rigid at this time. So go with the flow. The air, this reminds me of the four winds, right? And with the King of Swords underneath it. North, south, east, west, kind of having, you may have Mercury, Gemini, or Aquarius strong in your chart, but having that ability to let go with the flow, blow where the wind may take you. And the other one says, the blank canvas is a great example of leucosis. It's terrifying to start for fear of making a mistake. Today is the day. Make a mark, begin the work. So even though you've already gone through this whole process, then you feel like, oh, finally I'm done. I'm changed. I've learned. I've moved on. I've graduated, whatever the case may be. There's always more work to do. We're all works in progress. Nobody's a final product. So this is a whole new brand new beginning. It is a blank slate. You've just begun a new phase of your life. Okay, so next we're going to look at your archetype card. We have the thread. Number 70. I don't think I've pulled this one before. Very interesting. The red string of fate, perhaps, that she's pulling on. We have the rainbow at the top there. All right. But before I get into that, I wanted to mention, so the lightning stage, the whitening, is the second stage of alchemy. There's the black, white, yellow, and red. But between the black and the white is the phase known as the peacock's tail, which is this rainbow. which made me think of it. So, actually, there is a card in the alchemy deck that talks about the peacock's tail, and they're going to explain it better than I can. So, I just wanted to put that in: the full vision, the spectrum, inclusivity. So, given that higher perspective, with all the wings here, the King of Swords, and you can see like 360 degrees. There's a full range now that you've experienced the dark and the light, that you have the whole and everything in between. So the peacock's tail is a sacred image in alchemy. The mesmerizing display of tail feathers opens to mark the alchemists having shifted from single to multi-perspective. This is a great achievement. The alchemist has opened 1,000 sets of eyes instead of one. They've discarded black and white thinking and allowed the full spectrum of colors, nuances, and solutions to come into the fold. Creative solutions to complex social and political polarities can be found in this sacred space. The force field of possibilities has opened, and the alchemist has entered a new paradigm belonging to the multiplicity, dimensionality, and inclusion. Utilize this perspective for positive change while it lasts. When falling back into black and white thinking, as any alchemist will do, envision the splendor of the peacock's tail. Each feather contains a shimmering universe of possibilities. And the alligator message, too, being integration. What is more the peacock's tail than integrating the aspects of those polarities of black and white? And the rainbow is the visible spectrum in between. So the color black is all the colors in one, and the color white is the reflection of all those colors, absorption and reflection there. So let's read about the thread. Okay, the title of this card is The Path, the Vein, the Circuit. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously, leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole being responds to its tug. Meaning is pumped through our bloodstream. Our mind and spirits are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came into this world to do. Though this happens on the most profound level, it could be at the simplest incident that activates the thread: a song, an image, a conversation heard in passing. No matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Being tethered to it is the only anchor our heart requires. Recall a moment in your life when you felt fully alive. The thread is waiting for you and the details of that memory. Amid the details of that memory. You may think you have to find the thread and pull it. Imagine, though, that it's already tied around you, waiting for you to follow it home. Okay, when light, the circuit of meaning within chaos. When dark, binding, frustrating, and taut. Okay, so again, I did feel that feeling of the red string of fate. Just look into that myth if you're interested more, but responding to this calling, to this lifeblood that runs through our life. It's like, and she's grasping it in the darkness. So there's really no getting lost. There's only aligning with it. There's only tapping into that vein of life. Whatever it is, perhaps you felt directionless recently, but the only way to achieve a focused attainment of this path was to undergo these disciplined lessons, to go through these healing of the wounds, and trusting yourself in the process. Maybe that was the shadow aspect of yourself you had to work on. Perhaps you lacked an abundance of self-trust. So now that you have that, then you're able to know when you're in contact with this vein of energy that runs through your life, that it is the true path that you're meant to be on, that it's not going to lead you down the same road, resulting in further hurt or further disappointment, because now you've basically eliminated all the other possibilities. There's only one left, and now that way is becoming more and more clear to you because you've experienced that spectrum. All right, so how about some making magic cards here to wrap this up? Maybe some words from your angels. What flipped over here? The sun. The golden energy of the sun brings fame and fortune. So the lightning there too, the light of the sun breaking through any darkness that you had been experiencing. The light at the end of the tunnel appearing, not like in a death sense, but it's like meaning just the end of the darkness, the end of the dark period. Philosopher's Stone, powerful manifestations of wishes and goals by harnessing universal energy. So that is the alchemical process of transmuting lead into gold. We're taking this darkness, we're turning it into our wealth of knowledge. And One more for us. Time to shine. Creates the energetic resonance for golden opportunities. Okay, so it's got these directional arrows too, like the rays of the sun, but it's pointing out with the direction guardian there, telling you you have the freedom to move now in any direction. And of course, the Leo is ruled by the sun. So your recent achievements are definitely bringing more light into your life. And from the Direction Guardian description, it says your path isn't set in stone and your angels and guides have no expectations for you, nor should you have any for yourself. There are many directions you can take. None of them are wrong, as they all hold perfect opportunities to grow and to learn. But life is to be enjoyed and savored. So if you know that there's a decision to be made, and particularly if you're feeling indecisive, choose the path you know is going to make you light up, and choose with your heart. So yeah, Leo being ruled by the sun here, time to shine. Choose the path that's going to light up your heart, that's going to lead you to this spectrum of emotions and experiences. Okay, let's get some angel cards to finish out your reading. Three here, efficiency. Okay, so working smarter, not harder. Again, that freedom I mentioned, freedom of time that you're developing for yourself. Maybe you're just simplifying your life. Expectancy. Now that goes with the egg symbols here. So expecting something to hatch, like your manifestation, being pregnant with your manifestation, metaphorically or physically. But that hatching is on its way, and kindness. Okay. Giving and receiving kindness along the way, of course, will always expand your joy and your blessings. Okay, thank you everybody for tuning in. You can pick another pile at this time if you like. Otherwise, take care. Have a beautiful new moon. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. All right, welcome pile 2. You chose the Tarot of Dreams. Let's take a look at your first card. We have the Devil, Capricorn. Next card, we have the Ten of Cups, Mars in Pisces. And finally, we have the King of Wands. Okay. Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. A lot of masculine fire energy here. You might have strong placements in fire, or Mars in a fire sign. But we're also dealing with this new moon in the Kritika Nakshatra, which means the cutting. It's ruled by the fire god Agni, which can be passion, perseverance, energy, which is all, again, masculine, action, movement forward. It seems like this Ten of Cups, it's your goal. It's your, what vision you have in your mind for you to achieve. And it seems like you're determined at any cost to make that happen. So if there's any belief about not being able to make that happen, that's the devil keeping you trapped here in this cage. This is your mind here. But the door is open. You're free to leave anytime. You're free to abandon these thoughts and break free of these chains of self-doubt or limiting beliefs that you're not able to reach this goal of the Ten of Cups, of this fulfillment. But I feel like, again, that is, you are the only person standing in your way of that. There is no actual cage on the door. You can leave. So leave these thoughts behind, and you're free to move towards that with confidence. Maybe I feel like there's a fear of failure. Maybe because you've tried this in the past and it's not worked out for whatever reason. The devil can also be, toxic energies, addictions, or bad relationships from the past with karmic partners, because Saturn's the ruler of Capricorn and Saturn's the lord of karma. So you may have had to gone through all of these processes before, not believing that this Ten of Cups is something that's even possible for you, even though that you're envisioning it for yourself. But you are the King of Wands, so you have that mastery. You have the ability to master yourself and become your own boss and become the maker and designer of your destiny there. I mean, we all are, of course, but having this passion of spirit and fire behind you to ignite these processes in order to make it happen. that you have the ability to wield that element. Okay, so let's take a look at your oracle cards to expand upon this. Your Queen of the Moon card is abundance. Okay, yeah, so that's the Hunter Moon. That's another full moon card, number 38. But this is abundance, right? This is your cups overflowing with happiness and joy. Also having a beautiful home, beautiful family, more than enough to provide for you and your loved ones. So the messages: take advantage of this time of abundance. It is all around you. Possibility and opportunity are everywhere. You are open and responsive to the abundance around you. There is enough for everyone. I am abundant and I am surrounded by opportunity. So depending on your situation, again, this could be something you're aspiring to acquire, or if this is, as the card says, things are good right now, you have plenty to be thankful for and grateful for. So gather and preserve what you have now while you can. Prepare for leaner times in case that comes, as the Hunter Moon often came in the October for the fall in the Northern Hemisphere, as they're preparing for winter, preparing for times of barrenness. So in another sense, it could be, again, with the Devil card being there, sometimes overindulgence can be too much, and that can overcome us. Again, I mentioned addiction here in the Devil card. So if there is perhaps an abundance, maybe be watchful and cognizant of how you're using those resources, that they're not being squandered or overindulged in. Next, we have the House 3. So Gemini, early learning, childhood relations, rational mind, and communication. So House 3 ruled by Gemini and Mercury. Mercury rules the Magician card too. So this manifestation power is definitely within you as well. Air being the companion sign to fire. Also, as you speak, you create. So whatever it is, watch your words, your communication, how you're communicating to yourself, primarily because your subconscious mind stores that energy and has the impact on what it is and how and when you manifest. So your beliefs really are, your perspective here is really paramount into what you are bringing into your life. And it goes both ways. I mentioned the Kritika Nakshatra, the symbol is the knife for cutting. You can also use this cutting ability to, like I said, free yourself from the chains of disbelief. So monitor the gates of your mind. Be cognizant again of what beliefs you are allowing into your subconscious. Harness this power of authority as the King of Wands in order to dictate what it is you speak, what goes out of your mouth, and what goes into your ears. All right, next we have for your animal card, the butterfly. So this change, this transformation, number 9, it's the highest single digit number you can reach. Might be a life path number 9, but we have this transformation happening again from this feeling defeated or imprisoned into liberation and abundance here in the 10 of Cups. So the title of the card is Transformation. The power that butterfly brings to us is akin to the air. And here we have Gemini, which is an air sign. It is the mind, the ability to know the mind or to change it. It is the art of transformation. To use butterfly medicine, you must astutely observe your position in the cycle of self-transformation. Like butterfly, you are always at a certain station in your life activities. You may be at the egg stage, where it's the beginning of all things. This is the stage at which an idea is born, but has not yet come to reality. The larva stage is the point at which you decide to create an idea in the physical world. The cocoon stage involves going within, doing or developing your project, idea, or aspect of personality. The final stage of transformation is the leaving of the chrysalis and birth. This last step involves sharing the colors and joy of your creation with the world. So this almost sounds like, this cage could be your cocoon, right? You're in the crucible. You're in the midst of having these limitations burned away. You're about to break through the cocoon and show your wings to the world. If you look closely at what butterfly is trying to teach, you will realize that it is a never-ending cycle of self-transformation. The way to discern where you are in this cycle is to ask yourself, 1, is the egg stage? Is it just a thought or idea? 2, is this the larva stage? Do I need to make a decision? Is this the cocoon stage? Am I developing and doing something to make my idea a reality? Or 4, is this the birth stage? Am I sharing my completed idea? This is interesting if you're coming from pile 1, because they had egg symbolism in their reading, and now it's like you're coming out of this egg. It seems more like the cocoon stage, developing and doing something to make your idea a reality. And by asking yourself these questions, you will discover how butterfly is relating to you at this moment. When you understand where you are, the symbol can teach you what to do next to continue in the cycle of self-transformation. If you have found the position through which you are cycling, you will see the creativity of butterfly. Using the air or mental powers of this medicine is done with ease. As an example, if you have been feeling exhausted and have asked how to heal your fatigue, take notice of the colors you have been drawn to recently. Does your body feel better in green? Could this mean that you need to eat more green vegetables? This type of thinking is an inspiration from butterfly medicine. Butterfly can give clarity to your mental process, help you organize the project you are undertaking, and assist you in finding the next step for your personal life or career. The main message to be obtained from the drawing this symbol is that you are ready to undergo some type of transformation. To discern what your next move is, use the butterfly spread. Okay, so that's a spread of cards, I suppose, that are illustrated in this book. But again, it's emphasizing the process of the mind. And it's funny here, because we're here at the number 9. That's the very last, the highest digit. And then we have 10. So 10 is a rebirth, a restart of the cycle from ending at 9 to 10 being a new beginning, because 1 plus 0 is 1. And also, it mentioned your career. So Capricorn does rule the 10th house of career. It could be, again, a change in your income. It could be a raise, a promotion, a change in career altogether that leads to this kind of financial freedom and abundance for you and your family. It's just funny, though, as I'm reading this about, as an example, if you've been feeling exhausted, take notice of the colors you've been drawn to recently. And it talks about, does your body feel better in green? And Taurus is an earth sign, which we're in. And the color of earth is green. I was out for a hike yesterday, and all I saw around the trail was the most beautiful shades of green. And there were butterflies that often do land in front of me on the trail, and just stop and look at them for a while. So this is resonating pretty deeply for me. But it's just interesting how these synchronicities show up in the cards and real life. And I hope they do for you too. All right, so moving on to your Angels and Ancestors card, the Moon. Fantastic. Take note of intuitive messages. So emphasizing the phases of the moon. We have the full moon here. We are at a new moon. So perhaps in the next 2 weeks, leading up into the full moon in June, we could see this birth take place. Of course, the moon being our feminine, intuitive side. We started this reading with a lot of masculine, fiery ambition. But also the message here is use your intuition, practice discernment, see through illusions and blockages. And what did we start here with the Devil card? It's an illusion of the blockage that either you deserve this or you're capable of attaining this 10 of cups or 10 of coins. So the moon is strongly associated with the divine feminine and the energy of receiving. If the sun is God, the moon is goddess, and so she offers a powerful energy of polarity and balance. She has a cyclic energy and is therefore strongly connected to emotions, which often come and go in waves. And emotions here are the 10 of cups, because cups are emotions. And to somewhat interesting behavior. So when the moon appears in a reading, you are often being told that not everything is as it seems. The moon has a dark side, just dark, not negative, and can show you what you've been kept in the dark about. Okay, so the extended messages, lunar cycles are surrounding your life, allowing you to understand what is standing in your way. Not everything is as it seems, and you're being guided to use your discernment. Yeah, the cage is not closed on the door's not closed on the cage. When the moon appears, intuitive or psychic urges are increased, so take note of any feelings arising at this time. They are messages from your soul and angels. The moon shines her light on all that has been kept in the dark, so ask yourself if you're avoiding anything or refusing to deal with something of importance. If so, it could be holding you in the shadows when your destiny is to be in the light. Shadows, light. If this card appears when you feel someone isn't being completely real with you, know that their intentions will be revealed to you. The moon has no secrets. She reveals all. Okay. So next we're going to move into our alchemy card. We have the tin, which is the ruling metal of Jupiter. So the king of the planets, lord of expansion. All right, number 21. And number 21 is also the world card in tarot. So the end of a phase, the end of a cycle, as we had here in the 9 and the 10, and the full moon abundance. So the title of this card is Malleable, Expansive Jupiter. Tin is a silvery white, highly malleable metal, and silver white is the color of the moon too. This is this is in part because tin's structure is composed of crystals in cubic or tetragonal formations that can be broken or crushed under moderate pressure. When the crystalline structure breaks, a sound known as the tin cry can be heard, hence the unnerving sound of crinkling tinfoil. Such is the energy of the tin card. On one hand, it is tin's Jupiterian nature to expand, to immobilize, to cover the whole territory. On the other hand, the metal cannot withstand much weight or pressure. When this card appears, you may have reached a limit or breaking point after taking on more than is logistically possible under the circumstances. Don't take this juncture personally. More strength is required before taking next steps to support the expansion you see in your mind's eye. So this is the expansion you see in your mind's eye. Perhaps again you need to strengthen yourself, but then again the butterfly's wings only become strong enough to fly through the act of pushing through the chrysalis. If you help a butterfly out of that casing, it'll die. It won't have the strength to fly. So perhaps while you're in this cocoon phase, you are building your strength in order to create this stamina for yourself to see through this culmination of abundance through the end, through this accumulation. The side notes say, be like tin today. If a good cry or wail needs to be heard, let it happen. It'll release the pressure in the laboratory and you'll have a whole new perspective. In esoteric wisdom traditions, Jupiter and tin are associated with the liver. It's possible the liver may have a wise message to reveal, perhaps about excess and balance. And I mentioned in the beginning that the dark side of abundance could be overindulgence. So your liver is our detox center. It processes everything we put into our bodies. And perhaps that's what, again, addiction is the devil. Alcohol could be an issue. An overconsumption of that could be holding you back or slowing your development, your spiritual development. So that's not going to apply to everybody, but again, it's something that you may have to address. Or any kind of toxic food or substance that you put into your liver, you're taxing it, you're putting it to work. So we need to strengthen our spiritual core in order to bring about this development that we want to see, this light that we're bringing into our life. And next we have for our archetype card, the warrior. Beautiful, number 10. So 10 rules the Wheel of Fortune card in tarot. And here we have, and that's ruled by Jupiter as well. So this seems as double affirmation of Jupiter to me, of expansion. And with the snake here, obviously snakes and butterflies share that same transformative quality. Snakes shed their skin and as they expand, so they can't contain themselves in their old identity any longer. And I mentioned that walk yesterday when I was amongst the green trees and saw the butterflies, and something I'd never seen on this trail before, but always possible in nature. It was a 5-foot-long black rat snake. And it startled me at first because I didn't see it until it started to move. It was on the side of the trail in the grass, but they're harmless. But it was just all of these images now are coming to me in this reading. So pretty interesting. So the warrior, and I get again that strong masculine fire energy, this perseverance, this ability to gain the strength that you need, the tin, the strengthening to push past any of these limitations that have been placed upon you or that you've brought upon yourself. The title of this card is The Samurai, the Soldier, the Advocate. We often envision the warrior as an armored figure with sword in hand, moving blindly toward battle. Yet the deeper aspects of this archetype bring us face to face with death itself. The warrior stands precariously at the edge of life and death, trusting the eternal to guide the sword's blade. The warrior's work requires presence, alignment, and purpose. If and when the warrior loses its center, meaningless confrontations and violence are their default response. When this card appears, it is important to question the battle at hand. It is likely a great one with deep roots and long-standing tensions. The actions you take will stay with you long after the dust settles, so choose wisely, brave one. As you draw your sword, realign with the eternal wisdom within, then surrender to this battle. So this is the battle. It's an internal one with the devil, whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever mental battle you're having with yourself. On the side notes say, be careful, as the warrior implies war. The two go hand in hand. Those who defeat others are strong. Those who defeat themselves are mighty. And in the intro, I mentioned, of course, there's the sun and moon are conjunct Jupiter, and then we have Jupiter showing up twice, and they're making a T-square with Mars and Pluto. Mars being the god of war, and Pluto being the god of death and transformation. And all these things are happening here. The death, Pluto, Hades, god of the underworld, here in the Devil card, and being in this cocoon of the cage, being transformed into this butterfly through Mars, through the effort of war with the self, essentially war in the mind. So without a true purpose, manifesto, or oath, the warrior is lost. What do you stand for? What are you willing to rise in the name of? Write it out. So, and again, you have this passion and ambition of Mars, energy behind you in the King of Wands. Okay. Let's take a look at your Making Magic cards. Okay, these fell out. Self-confidence, strong self-belief, and a sense of worth. Okay. The Star. The silver energy of the star brings good luck and serendipity. And what do we have in the color of tin is silver and white. Okay, and on target, follow your ideal life path. Okay, and here we have like the symbol of chaos magic. There's many directions, right, in which you can go. So follow the one that is most closely resonant with your ideal path, whatever it is. And it looks like this is your ideal path to achieve this 10 of Cups. Okay, let's see what your angels have to add. Oh, there's a lot. Beauty. So see beauty in this process. Trust the process, obviously. Trust yourself to make these changes. Communication coming up again, like it did in the third house. So again, how you're communicating with yourself and others. Obedience. Okay, yep, Saturn showing up here in Capricorn. Having to follow your own rules in whatever guidelines you set for yourself to achieve this goal. You have to obey them and practice them daily. And then we have purpose. So on target, following your life path, following your life purpose. This is all part of your purpose and direction. But notice the angel is going up. She's climbing a mountain. It's a challenge, but the achievement comes when you reach the top. And you will, because you're on target. And then finally, we have a blank. So that is for you to write your own story, your own destiny on your own goals of whatever this 10 of Cups situation looks like for you. All right, I wish you the best, pile 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a beautiful new moon, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Hi, pile number 3. You chose the Osho Zen Tarot. So we're going to get started with your 3 tarot cards, and then we'll look at the oracle cards to expand the message. First, we have Moment to Moment, the 2 of Coins. Next, we have the Lovers, number 6, Gemini. And we have Control, the King of Swords. So I see 222 right away. I have two people, and I have 2 pillars. So you might be seeing that number. 2s are pairs, polarity, opposites, combining to create a third entity, outcome, energy. But it's a merging of these energies, a union, even if it doesn't have to do with a personal romantic relationship. It could be an internal energy merge, as the King of Swords also rules the sign of Libra, but that rules the 7th house of partnerships as well, with the scales of justice. All right, so we have Moment to Moment, though. The 2 of Coins is often depicted as a man juggling two coins in perpetuity with the infinity symbol around it. It's like going with the flow, the ups and downs of life. So maybe there is more being called for you to do that, to let go of control, to not try to be so rigid, but actually flow with the changes of life, become more fluid. And that's what's going to help you kind of get away from one end of the spectrum that you may have been favoring. Maybe it's your masculine energy. You've been overachieving, overdoing too much and headed towards burnout, or perhaps it's too much passivity, too much feminine energy, waiting to be rescued, or just always on the receiving end as opposed to taking action and making things happen for yourself. So there is a meeting in the middle of forces that needs to happen here. Or is it something that you're in the process of or have been going through? Perhaps these eclipses have hit you particularly hard because we had the new moon solar eclipse on one side and the full moon lunar eclipse on the other, so black and white. And this is your integration. You may also have been drawn to pile number 1 if you want to check that out or have come from that pile. You could also have strong Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra placements in your chart. And in tropical zodiac, we'll be moving into Gemini season here in a couple days after this new moon. Not for about another month in the sidereal system, but Gemini season could be a particularly powerful time for you this year. The card description here for the Two of Coins I wanted to read about. This card challenges us to move away from our preoccupations with other spaces and other times and stay alert to what is happening in the here and now. Life is a great ocean in which you can play if you drop all your judgments, your preferences, and attachments to the details of your long-term plans. Be available to what comes your way as it comes, and don't worry if you stumble and fall. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, have a good laugh, and carry on. So yeah, that does talk, that feels like relinquishing this control, this need to plan everything out, because that's really not, what is it, when you make plans, God laughs? Is that the saying? So it's really out of your control, as much as we want to deceive ourselves into believing that we can plan every detail of our life, that you'll find much more joy in releasing that control. But it also, again, this figure has a higher perspective. He's like on a mountaintop and there's a city down below. So that King of Swords, that perspective though of freedom, I just think of like an eagle flying above, that they're the most free beings, right? You can't keep them from flying. So they get this higher perspective. They can see both sides of an issue. They're not stuck on one angle versus the other. So perhaps you're freeing yourself from this black and white thinking, this dichotomy. Again, you may have been drawn to pile 1, but and seeing a more integrated viewpoint here. So let's see what your oracle cards have to say to expand upon this. All right, your Queen of the Moon oracle. We have Hunger, the wolf moon. This is a full moon. It's interesting, this is a new moon reading. Every single pile has had a full moon card show up for their Queen of the Moon oracle. So number 29. So the wolf moon typically happens in the northern hemisphere in January when the land is barren. Not a lot of animals are out. Hunting is scarce. There's no crops growing. So there's a motivating factor there when the hunger moon, it drives you, it motivates you, whether it's physical, literal hunger or metaphorical hunger for greater results or something that you're longing to achieve in your life. It says, feed the good and hope within you. There will always be a lean part of the cycle. Prosperity will come. Do not let your hunger blindly dictate your actions entirely. I recognize all that I hunger for. So in the opening, I talked about the nakshatra and the Kritika nakshatra. It's ruled by the fire god Agni. It's also known as the symbol is cutting or sharp knife, but it can be an impulsive energy too, with fire being there. So I guess hunger or desperation could make you impulsively make careless decisions. But with the King of Swords, the meaning is not just control here, but it's also wise decisions, clarity, vision, again, seeing that higher perspective, look before you leap kind of energy as this man is moving from stone to stone. So some planning is, of course, required, but it's, again, finding a happy medium between rationality and complete, need to control the situation. So the book goes on to say, as old and wise Cherokee for the First Nations of the U.S. is speaking to his grandson about life, The young boy asked his grandfather, "It is said, grandfather, that everyone has two wolves within them. The first wolf gives darkness, despair, and hate, and jealousy, and sorrow. The second wolf gives light, and hope, and helpfulness, and kindness. Yet, grandfather, I feel them fighting within me. What can I do?" "My small son, these two wolves will always fight, and they will fight within each person. You are no different," said the grandfather. "But," said the boy, "grandfather, which wolf will win?" And the grandfather answers, "Whichever wolf you feed." So this goes back to that balance and integration that I was feeling. There's a dark wolf and a light wolf in each. We must be careful about what we nourish and feed within us. If we give abundance to the aspects of the self that can harm others and ourselves, then we truly cannot thrive. Having no limitations upon these behaviors and patterns hurts us and starves the higher and finer parts of ourselves that will bring us more happiness. To ripple that happiness to others is part of why we are on this planet as humans. We must also recognize that in life, just because it is a cycle, there will always be leaner, less abundant, or less bright times. Yet we have built our resilience and self-trust for times like this, and we know we are both loved and protected. The cycle will soon turn to less shadow and more bounty. The companion stone or metal is Amazonite. Okay, so let's find out what our astrology card is. House 4, Cancer, cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. So I mentioned Gemini season coming up, then right after that we have Cancer. So perhaps if things are lean or dark at the moment, then the more you focus on feeding the wolf of love and hope and abundance in the future, the more positive thoughts that you feed yourself, the more you will give birth to abundance in the coming months of Gemini and Cancer. We have the eggs showing up here in the nest for the symbol of house and home for Cancer. All right, so again, you may be drawn to pile 1. If you are, then you can find some resonance with that message as well, most likely. And next, our card is the Whale, number 41. Okay. Another water symbol, as Cancer rules, is a water sign. In simplest imagery, I'm imagining, again, a hungry wolf who's like starving and foraging for food, and then you have a whale who's often, it's a euphemism for a large fatty animal, because it carries a lot of blubber. They were hunted for their fat, but that's what keeps them warm in the freezing cold oceans. So going from this leanness to this thick and fullness could be a symbol of that growing wealth within you. So we have, though, the name of this card is Record Keeper. Whale is very much like a swimming library. Whales carry the history of Mother Earth, and it is said to have been placed here by the ancients from the dog star Sirius. Biologists say that whale is a mammal and very possibly lived on land millions of years ago. In tribal legend, whales move onto the ocean happened when Earth shifted and Lemuria, the motherland, went below the waves. All of our petroglyphs speak of the motherland Mu and the disaster that brought the red race to North America from the west beyond the great waters. The symbols in the petroglyphs speak of the rivers and mountains crossed by our ancestors when they sought solid ground as the water receded. Whale saw the events that led to the settling of Turtle Island, North America, and has kept the records and knowledge of the motherland alive. It is said that Mu will rise again, and the fire comes across the sky and lands in another ocean on Mother Earth. The native medicine people are waiting for this event as the next sign of Earth changes. Earth's children will have to unite and honor all ways and all races in order to survive. Whale medicine people are coded in their DNA to understand the sound frequencies that can bring up records in the memories of ancient knowledge. They are usually clairaudient, or able to hear both very low and very high frequencies. They are usually also physically developed and fairly telepathic. Many times, however, they are not awakened to their gifts until it is time to use the stored records. Many whale medicine people are able to tap into the universal mind of Great Spirit and have no idea how or why they know what they know. Only later, when they receive confirmation, do they begin to understand how they know or why they received the impressions. Whale medicine teaches us to use the sounds and frequencies that balance our emotional bodies and heal our physical forms. To recall why the shaman's drum brings healing and peace is to align with whale's message. The drum is the universal heartbeat that aligns all beings heart to heart. Before the advent of speech in the primordial language, hand signs were used, and many tribes were silent most of the time. The language that was understood was the sound of Great Spirit's other creatures, the animals. If you pulled the whale card, you are being asked to tap into these records and to allow yourself to be sung to those sung to by those who have the original language. We are the only creatures who do not have our own unique cry or call. Find yours. Allow your voice to use this sound to release tension or emotions. Whale signals a time of finding your origins, of seeing your overall destiny as coded in your DNA, and of finding the sounds that will release those records. You may never be the same again. After all, you are the melody of the universe, and the harmony is the song of the other creatures. In using your voice to open your memory, you are expressing your uniqueness and your personal sound. As you open to the uniqueness, the animals that are your 9 totems may then send their sound or calls to you or through you. This will open your personal records so that you may further explore your soul's history and commune with Whale, who carries the history of all of us. So we have this wolf crying at the moon, right? And the whale sings its song too. So it's an emphasis on the throat chakra with the air element evident here in these 3 cards as well. And even the bird's nest, because the birds are of the element of the air. So again, finding your frequency, finding your voice could be key or paramount into balancing these energies within you. Expressing more love language and light language versus any negative self-talk or gossip about others. I know with strong Gemini in my chart, yeah, that's a huge trait. A negative trait of Gemini is gossip, and it's something that is difficult to control or master. It seems kind of silly, but as a Gemini, you might understand. But again, tapping into those higher frequencies of communication, as whales have such a broad bandwidth of healing sounds and communication that they use. So you could be switching from low frequency communication to higher as the King of Swords, as the master of communication, the airwaves. Even this 2 of Coins card, it doesn't really feel earthly to me. It feels more of the air because of the wind that's depicted behind him, that he's kind of dancing amongst the clouds. Okay. So also you could be using like Tibetan sound bowls or solfeggio frequencies, meditating with those to help bring, or binaural beats to help bring that kind of peace or elevation to your mind. You could use it in meditation, but you could be receiving downloads too. You may have through these past few eclipses in your meditative or sleep states. As this information is tapped into through the Akashic records. Again, you could have been spending a lot of time within your mind and acting as an antenna, really, from your ancestors, your higher self. So let's see what your angels and ancestors cards have for you. The eagle. I mentioned the eagle earlier, didn't I, about seeing from a higher perspective, seeing both sides of a situation. The integrated viewpoint. That's pretty fascinating. So the description here is look at things from a different angle, fly higher, and see new possibilities. In animal medicine, both Native American and Celtic, the eagle draws his power and strength from the sun. He is a powerful, strong, and courageous guide who is able to see for miles. He approaches all things with intelligence, grace, and poise, and has the capacity to make a plan from a higher space before putting it into action. When the eagle card appears in a reading, it shows that you have a real ability to take things higher and to move beyond the limitations of your ego and your selfish desires. Eagle medicine swirls around you, encouraging you to recognize that your views or vision may be limited at this time. Is there a chance that your own desperation, need, or ego could be blocking you from seeing the potential in your current situation? If there are the other people involved, you are being guided to see things from everyone's perspective. If you are feeling the need for something to change, how can you take the higher road? Know that if you have intentions that aren't for the highest good, it will only hold you back. Eagle medicine can help you change this. The eagle brings the energy of healing and love directly from the heart of Father Sky and invites you to do all things from a place of love. This could even be seen as Father Sky, King of Swords. Okay. And eagles have their own unique cry too. They have their own sound, like the screech of the eagle, right? So again, you could be having to communicate with people or improve your communication style with others to improve those relationships. And as you work on those relationships, and you'll find that it creates a positive feedback loop in your life as far as blessings and abundance are concerned. So now we have for your alchemy card, Smoke, number 32. Smoke and mirrors, I just heard, because this looks like a very shiny mirrored surface. So deception, Maybe again, if you've been not communicating in the most clear and honest way, that you'll see those effects reflected back to you. Or perhaps there is a clearing of the smoke as you gain a higher perspective. Things aren't as cloudy or hard to see. Once you raise your vibration and understanding of things, you can see above the clouds, per se. So the title of this card is Smoldering, Warning, and Illusion. Smoke is a tantalizing phenomenon, stealth-like and seductive. It swirls and twists, rising and disappearing. It travels great lengths with its signature scent, warning of a flame somewhere in life's laboratory. Such is the nature of the smoke card. When present, the senses are aroused and enticed, yet the warning of fire cannot be ignored. What kind of smoke is it? Was the fire intended, a ritual, or an accident? Does the smoke carry notes of incense and herbs, or is it laced with the fear-stricken scent of destruction? The smoke card asks us to wake up, to become alert to what is happening around us. Something burns. Those around you may fall under smoke's seduction, or they may flee in a panic. Don't get distracted by their response. Stay in your own laboratory and see what emerges as you study the smoldering veil. The side notes state the smoke card may be a message to clear the air with another person. Take a few deep breaths and say what's on your mind. Well, yeah, with this lover's card here, again, it could be a family member. It doesn't have to be an intimate partnership, but it could. If there's either been a misunderstanding or miscommunication, perhaps Mercury retrograde was difficult to express yourself or how you truly felt about the relationship, this is time or an opportunity to clear the smoke in the room, to make sure you're both on the same page and that you're both wanting and having the same vision for the future. The image of smoke and mirrors applies. Don't be surprised if things aren't what they seem. Have patience and pause on major decisions. So yeah, again, in alignment with the new moon, you might have this urge, as the nakshatra dictates, to have an impulsive decision. But this is, again, encouraging mediation, discussion, planning, to make sure there's absolute clarity that you're not jumping blindly off a cliff because there's fog everywhere and you can't see how high the cliff is. So wait for the smoke to clear and then make your decision. All right, finally we have your archetype card, the Mystic, number 21. So 21 in the tarot is the World card, the completion or end of a cycle. And also we have the Butterfly of Transformation here. You may have been drawn to pile 2 as well if you wanted to check that out. Let's read about the Mystic. Again, we have more eye symbolism here. We have the eagle eye, the higher perspective, the vision here of the Mystic, clearing the smoke, seeing things more clearly, things coming into focus. Okay, the title is The Seeker, the Lightworker, the Dreamer. The mystic is often misunderstood in our culture, depicted as a wandering or lighthearted daydreamer. Yet, like Shiva, wow, okay, so in the intro, I discussed the astrology and this nakshatra, where the new moon is happening. One of the ruling deities is Shiva, the destroyer, and the also gives rise to new beginnings. So, like Shiva, the true mystic plays a critical role in our society, remaining fearlessly dedicated to the path of transformation. In order to save the earth from darkness, Shiva swallows the poison of the world and holds it in his throat, slowly transmuting the liquid into nectar. And I was bringing up the throat chakra as finding your voice with the whale, the eagle, the wolf. Perhaps you felt unable to speak, or like your opinion didn't matter, or you were being silenced in a relationship and you couldn't speak your mind. But going back to the book, this is the work of the mystic. They do not fear darkness, but rather sit in the presence of it, harness the potential and latent energy behind it, and embed it with light. They are patient and prudent change makers, seeking growth above all else. Unanswerable questions are the mystic's lifeblood. The mystic revels in mystery, in the great riddle of life, dancing with the forces of light and dark upon its wings. So we started this reading talking about the light and dark, the duality concept, and how as the Shiva transmutes the poison of the world into liquid nectar, transmuting the dark to the light. So this might be your life's purpose or your path. In order, you might have strong placements in the 3rd house or north node there, in the 3rd or 7th house, but this communication, or 11th house, partnership, relationship, could be a counselor, could be somebody, again, who's been through both sides, who's seen both the good and bad of life, and now you are able to use your throat, your voice, in order to become a counselor, a guide to the rest of the world. And if you are going through some difficulty right now, it's just a step along the way on this path. It's one of the steps in your progress, in your process. So when light, remover of darkness, visionary, when ageless, when dark, expects results, seeks attention and recognition. Okay, so the side notes say, it may seem that the mystic is inward facing, yet its light beams back to the world with the strength of 1,000 stars. Like any light worker, the mystic must build a relationship with fire. This begins by awakening the inner flame or tapas within. And the ruling deity of this nakshatra is Agni, the fire god. So there's a relationship with fire and air here, as air feeds a fire, creating smoke. You could have, again, this inner flame that is ignited at this time of the new moon that sets you upon this path that's going to take you to this higher place of higher understanding and clearer communication. But I think that's the biggest message of your pile, is this wisdom, clarity, communicating that to others, and transmuting the situation, whether personal or societal, into nectar for the planet. So let's see. Any messages for Making Magic for pile 3. So we have Spirit, which is heavenly assistance from your angels and guides. Again, with all the air symbolism here, the butterfly, the eagle, absolutely. Goddess, healing feminine energy. Okay, I mentioned some of you in the beginning. It may be that you were out of balance with your feminine or masculine energy. So the feminine energy might be something that needs healing, and especially with the house 4 ruled by Cancer, which is the mother. Could be healing feminine energy on your mother's side, or relationship with your mother. And we have the star, the silver energy. The star brings good luck and serendipity. So I see this almost as a guiding star. You know, it's like following the stars in order to navigate, as many sailors did. You're following this star of destiny. And then underneath we have earth. Ask the element of earth for grounding, stability, and strength in times of chaos. So yeah, I mean, air and fire are very volatile, obviously ungrounded, intangible elements. So we are in the season of Taurus. This is a new moon in Taurus. You can be working on grounding that energy. Take time to discharge a lot of this active mental energy. This, it feels like the air is electrified. So being a conduit of all that energy can be exhausting and cause burnout and chaos in your own mind. So allowing yourself time to discharge that energy, whether it be through a hobby, or spending time in nature, putting your bare feet on the ground, whatever it is, but it can help you kind of maintain some semblance of control. I mean, you don't want to be completely without control. I mentioned a relaxing of that in the beginning if you were overly in that energy, but there's still some structure that needs to be maintained in your life so you can maintain your vessel, maintain your purpose. Okay, pile number 3. Let's finish this reading with some angel cards for you.